and welcome back to So God Told You to Write a Book, Now What? I'm your host, Wendy Jo Cerna, and we are jumping into the new year with the second half of Season 2. I hope you've enjoyed the interviews with the authors in the first 9 episodes in this season. I know I have. Wow, what a treasure trove of wisdom, experience, and practical tips. But don't turn off those listening ears just yet. There's more to come in the months ahead. So hop on board for the second half of Season 2 of So God Told You to Write a Book, Now What? I'm convinced you're going to find exactly what you need to help you obey the call of God on your life to create the book He has given you to create. Hey, if the author and finisher of all things told you to write a book, He believes that you can. And so do I. So come on, let's write. Hello, authors, and welcome back to So God Told You to Write a Book, Now What? We're in episode 10 of Season 2, and it's a brand new year. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026. We're going to kick off the year with a real treat. Today I have with me my new friend, Kim Vandel. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you. Kim is an author of young adult speculative fiction, and she has a series called the Under Fire series with 3 books in it, and book 4 is in the works, right?
Yes.
Is this the final book of the series?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Yes.
All
We'll
right.
wrap things up in this book. Yes.
Oh, good, because you left a lot of stuff hanging after book 1. I'm like, okay, I got to go get book 2 because there's a lot of unresolved things, which is the beauty of a series, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about Kim. She and I have gotten to know each other through Northwest Christian Writers Association, again, where she is currently serving as the social media coordinator and doing a beautiful job, by the way. But she, so your undergrad degree, is it an undergrad degree in biology?
Yeah.
Where did you go to school?
Northwest Nazarene University over in Idaho.
In Idaho, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But a degree in biology and worked in the field of environmental science, which seems just a natural jumping off point to be a speculative fiction author, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about how you got from point A to point B. But her first novel, Into the Fire, won the Cascade Award for Best Unpublished Young Adult Fiction. And then after it was published, Into the Fire was a Realm Award finalist in both the young adult and debut categories, and you actually won the best debut.
I did.
That's exciting.
It was a very great moment. Very satisfying after all the hard work.
Yes. Yeah. That someone finally sees all the hard work.
Yes.
Right. But you actually teach workshops on speculative fiction and on social media, which is a cool thing because you do really well with social media. I like the stuff that you do. So
thank you.
Yeah.
I enjoy it most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. I know it is. There's a lot of ins and outs of that as well. So let me ask. So, all right, environmental science. How did you leap from environmental science to writing young adult fiction?
Oh, that's a good question. I've always been a reader my whole life. I have loved, reading books and telling stories and just imagination always going. So I think it's always been in the background, but,
Yeah.
You have to, when I was younger, felt like I have to have a real job. I have to have something serious, And so I went with my other love, which was science, and got that degree and worked in an environmental testing lab. And then I stayed home after our first son was born.
Okay.
And, staying home, reading when you have time, and just it kind of renewed that love. And I think between when my boys were born, I was flying back from Tennessee after seeing a friend, reading a book, and just felt very distinctly God say, "This is what I want you to do, to be an author." And at first I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? It was so surprising. Well, we've all had those moments when you're like wondering if God is actually a little crazy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
his plan always works out. And now it's like, well, of course that's what I'm supposed to do. So yeah, but the science background is kind of cool how it does really work into speculative fiction.
Yeah.
It's so many speculative fiction writers have a science background, so
Hmm.
they kind of just go together.
Yeah. I see it in your writing. It's like, oh, yep, she knows what she's talking about. Physics. I trust you. So very cool. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Well, there's so many things that are interesting about God, but that he sees in us the things that have always been there that we don't always recognize are there. Like he knew,
Yes,
okay, she
we
actually has
did.
a desire to write books. She just doesn't know it yet.
Right, right. Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. So then how did you get started? So what year was that when you first heard from the Lord?
Probably around 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you get started writing after that, or what was the process?
I did. I started dabbling. So my story is that I it took me a while to kind of adjust to that idea of being an author. And so I did start writing, kind of playing with ideas. And so finally I came up with this idea that I really liked and started working on that book.
Uh-huh.
And it was good. It was a learning process. But I got to the point where I was just so frustrated. I didn't know what to do with it. And it just felt like I couldn't bring it together the way I wanted to. And so finally I got so frustrated. I thought, I'm going to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to go work on something completely different for a while, renew that creative well, and then I'll go back and finish this book. So I'd had this idea in the back of my head, kind of a superhero inspired story. Um, so I started working on that, and that book just took off the draft. It
Hmm.
flew on the page, and
Yeah.
I just felt like this is the story I'm supposed to be writing. And so that book turned into the Fire, and the other book has been abandoned, sadly, but that's okay. It was good learning process.
Yeah. It's such a learning process when you're starting
It
sort of
is.
from scratch. So where did you like the craft of writing itself? Is that something that you always were good at, or you've just been picking out the pieces along the way, or how does that work for you?
I mean, I've been doing it. I used to write really cheesy soap operas with my friends, like in junior high, so I
Yeah.
think that I've been doing it for a while. And then when I felt like that's what I was supposed to do, I did go to writers' conferences. I got involved in NCWA. Yeah, and just started that learning. And a huge part of it has been connecting with critique group,
Mm.
which I found through NCWA. And that helped really polish my skills because that draft that flew on the page, it was not ready to be published at all.
Yeah.
So, getting connected with critique partners and good ones who
Yes.
get
Right.
what you're trying to do and can gently, lovingly guide you in the right direction. That's how the book got to where it needed to be. So
Yeah. And are you still connected with that same critique group?
yeah, two of them are still, yeah, the same critique partners I've had for years and years. And they're also some of my best friends I have
Yeah.
in life. So yeah,
That's pretty special. That's
it
great
is.
to have trusted critique partners. Yes, take note. Listeners, good idea.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I mean, it takes a lot of time to build that trust, though. You
Oh, it
know,
does. Yeah. And you're not going to connect with everyone, you start a critique group with. And the funny thing is, I have a critique group with three other women, and none of them write speculative fiction,
Oh, really?
but we all view character the same way. We view story the same way. So we're the things that are really important to us and our writing and our stories, we get each other. And
Yeah,
that has just been really valuable.
that sounds amazing. So when you first started, so you write that first draft, did you get an editor at some point, a professional editor, or what did you do with that first book?
Yeah. So it went through critique group, to get it to a good spot. And
Yeah,
then I went to like a beta reader level where I had people read the book as a whole. And so I kind
yeah.
of used that as my developmental edit.
Okay.
Um, and then, after all those revisions, it went to an editor, a professional editor for the final like read through and copy editing and that
Yeah.
thing.
Which is, priceless, is what I say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank God.
Yes,
Thank God
definitely.
for good editors. Oh, yes. So how long did it take you from, that inception of this idea for Into the Fire till you actually held a book in your hands?
Oh, it probably took 3 or 4 years, but in my defense, I was still learning a lot, and
Yeah.
my boys were young at the
Yep.
time. So, most of my time was being a mom. But it probably took 4 years to get it
Yeah.
ready for publication.
Yeah. I think sometimes people don't realize just how long it takes. And it's
Yeah.
okay if it takes long. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
how long it takes if you just don't give up,
Yes.
right?
Exactly. Yes.
Eventually, if you just keep doing what the next thing is, it'll get done. You'll actually have a book in your hands. I tell people that all the time. The only book that never actually gets published is the one you give up on. So don't give up.
Exactly.
And life happens along the way.
It does.
No matter what season of life you're in, it happens.
It does. Definitely between, if you look at publication dates, between book two and book three, it was 6 years.
Really.
And there was a whole lot of life happening in there. But yeah, you just keep going. Even if you think it's never going to happen, it's so important to keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I lost both my parents in the last 3 years, and I published two books in that time. Don't ask me how that happened, but a lot of it was I realized, well, it's what they would want me to do, number one. But number two is like, okay, life is never going to slow down to a standstill where I have a perfect environment to write every day. My emotional, whatever ups and downs, they're always going to be there. So at some point, you just have to decide, well, this is what's been given me to do. So if I had a job, it wouldn't stop just because I'm in grief. I would, I mean, I've
Yes,
taken space for myself and allowed myself the grace to go through those things, but it also it's a part of the healing journey, I think, for me in life, is to just keep writing. So, so you had obstacles along the way. That's what you're trying to tell me. Obstacles
yes.
along the way. What sort of obstacles did you encounter?
So I have always dealt with chronic anxiety and depression. And so that space between books two and three, we had boys graduating from high school and
Mm.
going to college. And then my husband was sick for a while with it was nerve damage from shingles. And
Oh, yeah.
so it was just there was a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And by the time we kind of dealt with that, he finally was able to find a surgery that
Mm.
stopped the pain. I kind of had to keep going, and you
Yep.
can't stop and you got to
Yeah.
keep going. And there's always a price to pay for that.
Yeah.
So, like in the fall of 2018, I kind of bottomed out.
Yeah.
Like creativity was dry. The well was dry. I mean, there wasn't even a drop left. And it probably took a year and a half before I really felt like myself again.
Yeah.
So there were weeks in there where I didn't even open up the file.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating at the time. Sometimes it still feels frustrating, but I trust God, and I think his timing was perfect
Hmm.
because I learned a lot. And I think the third book became a little deeper, a little richer because of all that I went through. Um,
Yeah.
so if your book is taking a long time, don't be discouraged.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I love that you say, okay, I trust God in this, in timing, but also in the things that he's building into you, like
yeah,
that sort of they don't change your writing voice completely, but they do add a depth and a breadth to it.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. So
And I learned to let go of a lot of things during that time because I think you put a lot of pressure on yourself, especially if you're writing a series, like the expectations with readers. And I got to get it done now. And so it was kind of a relief in a way to just, you have to let go
yeah,
and just, yeah, trust
yeah,
God.
yeah. But here you are in the middle of book 4.
Yes,
That's amazing. It's
yeah,
wonderful.
it is.
So as I was reading Into the Fire, and I don't know you all that well, but I know you a little bit, but I thought, I wonder how much of Kate, the protagonist, how much of Kim is in Kate? That's my question.
There's actually, she and I would get along really well. So I did steal a lot from myself
Yeah.
at the start, you know, but she definitely became her own person. But I think both of us were kind of going through this journey as I write,
Hmm.
because her story is a lot about how you see yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a journey I've been going through also.
Yeah.
Seeing worth and value in yourself and having the right attitude about yourself because, we can be pretty
Hmm.
hard on ourselves
Yeah.
sometimes. So,
Yeah. I enjoyed that.
yeah.
You do a really good job of like from beginning of book to the end that there's a real growth. It's like she hasn't reached her final iteration of herself, but that there's real growth in the character. I
Yeah.
appreciated that. It felt very human. But also, I appreciated, what's the word? Maybe that she has a little snark in her.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
That's,
not a
that's,
pushover.
yeah, that she and I definitely have that. The sarcasm, we can't speak without sarcasm. It's just not possible.
Yeah. But it's good because it helps her to sort of make her way through without getting pushed around. And because she winds up in very remarkable circumstances that are not really of her choosing. And so sorting through that all and finding her voice in the middle of that was fun to see. And I'm looking forward to reading more of her story in the next book. So did you intend to you have self-published these, all of them, is that true?
Yes.
Did you intend to go that route the whole time, or is that just sort of where you wound up and embraced it, or how did that work?
So no, I did not
Okay.
intend to go self-published at all.
Okay.
I fully intended to traditionally published. I went to conferences and pitched the idea, and
Yeah.
I always got good feedback. So I knew the story idea was good. I knew the writing was where it needed to be, but I don't know how to say this without being mean. I think it was a little too not safe for
Uh-huh.
publishers. So I don't think they ever totally wanted to pull the trigger. It was a little too different from what everyone was doing then. So this was another journey of just
Yeah.
like all of a sudden, well, it wasn't all of a sudden to God, but it felt like to me, he was saying, I
Yeah.
want you to self-publish this. And I was like, no way. That's giving up. That's,
Hmm.
compromising. And so I really had to let that idea sink in too, and now looking back, that was the best thing ever. I love being indie published,
Yeah.
so God again knew what he was doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know the publishing world at all when I started either. I didn't really know indie publishing was even a thing. So going through, yeah, going through the trying to find an agent and trying to find a publisher, and then you realize, I guess I don't have to do that.
Right. Yeah.
There is another way. There's lots of other ways these days. Okay, maybe that's the way I'm supposed to go. But that's a whole nother learning curve. So how did you
Yeah.
start with that journey?
Well, fortunately, I had some friends who
Hmm.
were self-published.
Okay.
And so that, they were a great resource. Yeah, just getting to know other indie authors
Hmm.
and learning from them. And fortunately, no experience is wasted. God leads us in a direction, sometimes not for the destination, but for the experience.
Yeah.
And so that whole pitching it to um, traditional publishers and going to conferences that connected me with people who could help with marketing and influencing. I learned the craft of writing and how to pitch my book, which helped also with marketing.
Hmm.
So, yeah, a lot of the things I learned in pursuit of traditional publishing paid off
Hmm.
for self-publishing. So,
Yeah. The other night at NCWA, we had like a panel of people who'd published one traditionally, one hybrid, and then you were representing the indie publishing. So you were saying when you do indie publishing, you have to decide what's negotiable and what's non-negotiable, or what I can do and what I choose not to do. What I need, what I want to learn to do, and what I'm going to pay somebody else to do.
yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
And
What am I capable of doing? What am I willing to learn how to do? And what do I need to pay someone to do?
yeah, so where did you land in those into so what did you decide, okay, I am capable of or I want to learn to do?
So I mean, paid for professional editing because
Okay.
that I was not going to compromise on that. I wanted a professional book.
Yeah.
Um, I learned formatting because I wanted control over that. If, even after all the proofreading, there's a mistake, or if I need to update a link in the ebook, I want to do it right away
Yeah.
and not wait for a formatter and then have to pay them. So the original cover for Into the Fire, I did with a lot of help from a friend who was indie published and did her own covers. But I took so long with book 3 that I decided that I really needed to, redo them, give them a fresh start, kind of relaunch
Okay.
books 1 and 2 and 3. And then so I was like, I'm just going with a professional designer who knows what they're doing, and I don't, want to mess with it and try and figure it out. So
Yeah. And they're lovely. I really love your covers.
yeah, thank you. I really like them too.
Yeah. They're beautiful. And so explain to our listeners, maybe not everybody knows, what do you mean by formatting?
So formatting is just how the book looks when you have a paperback book, like how it looks on the page. So it's not like, your typical Word document is, you print it out, it's 8 by 10. It's a different format or look, different size for a
Yeah.
paperback book. And so it's all that figuring out how to get it on the page and make it look good and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And most of the places where you're going to upload your manuscript, they have parameters about margins and all those things that you really have to meet. So you have to pay attention to those things. Did you format using a program or did you format just using a Word doc?
So the paperback, I used the template. I went through Amazon, KDP. So they have
Yeah.
a template you can download and
Okay.
fill in. And then for the ebook, I write using Scrivener, and so that makes it really easy to compile the ebook.
Okay. So
Yeah.
tell our listeners, what is Scrivener?
So Scrivener is writing software. Probably won't do a good job of explaining it, but it has, I mean, it's made by writers for writers. And
Okay.
so you've got the area where you can compose just the story, but it breaks it into, you can set up files and folders. I guess think of it like a virtual filing cabinet,
Okay.
whereas you have all these different folders with a scene or a chapter,
Yeah.
and it just makes it really easy to move things around, or you
Uh-huh.
can like do split screen. Like if chapter 2 has something to do with chapter 10, you can work on them side by side. I don't use all the features. There's some really
Right.
cool stuff, like as far as like a research folder and locations. And yeah, and if you ever want to try it, I think you get a free 30-day trial or something. And there's a bit of a learning curve, but
Sure.
I really do like it. Yeah.
So it's a subscription.
No, it's a
A one
one-time
time.
fee. Hmm.
Okay. Well, that's nice. So you don't have to pay a monthly fee because you're not always writing every month. So it's nice.
Right.
So, okay, so it's a one-time fee and it's a software program that can on a computer, can you put it is it on your phone too, or is it pretty much just on your laptop?
I think just laptop,
Okay.
just computer.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people who use it and really like it a lot. It's very good for organizational skills and yeah, and especially when like me, it takes a while to get a book cranked out. It's nice to have baskets that are still there, or files that are there. Like, what did I, what did I write way back then? And go back and find it easily. Like, I don't have to scroll through a million pages to like, oh no, there it is.
Yeah.
Just go and
Yeah.
find it. Yeah, that's very cool. So you paid for an editor, you paid for a cover designer, and you did your
Mhm.
own formatting.
Yes.
And those are basically the things that you have to, what else we have to, that's kind of it. And then
Yeah.
you kind of have to figure out, okay, where do I upload this to? So where did you go? Did you go to Amazon KDP first?
Yes. So the Amazon Kindle, I went directly through Amazon KDP, but as far as like in the past, I've had the ebook also through Barnes and Noble and
Okay.
Apple Books and
Yeah.
Kobo and some others. And so for all of those things, everything except Amazon, I go through draft to digital.
Okay.
Um, because they'll put it on all of those sites for you instead of having to, go through 10 different
Right.
sites and update things. And
Right. They're kind of
yeah,
like a
so I
broker. Is it ebook only? Draft to digital?
they do print books now, but I've heard like the royalties that is just not worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
no, just ebooks with draft to digital.
Okay. So if you do that, then you can't do an Amazon exclusive. Whatever their exclusive Kindle is called,
Right.
because you have broader
So
distribution.
yeah. So right now, actually, all my books are on Kindle Unlimited, but I'm not going to do it forever. It is kind of a marketing thing over the
Okay.
holidays.
Okay.
So yeah, they'll go back to being everywhere in a couple months.
Okay. So you can go in and out of Kindle Unlimited. I don't know
Yeah.
is it a several month long commitment that you
It's
make?
90 days, I think.
90 days, which is good to know that it's not like a lifelong contract you sign that,
Right.
okay, Amazon has exclusive rights to this. So you sign like yeah, and then it gets listed as Kindle Unlimited. So people who are on that subscription get your book for free.
Yes.
But then every page they read, you get paid for,
Yes.
which is nice. I mean,
It
I
is.
sometimes get much higher royalties off that page by page Kindle reading than I do on actual books sold,
Yeah.
individual paperbacks. So,
Yeah.
but I like your strategy of, okay, I'm only going to do it for select months and then I'll go back to the broader distribution with Kobo and all those others, because there's a lot of ebook platforms too.
Yes.
Have you done audiobooks on any of these?
Have not. I would really like to, um, but it is an investment,
Yeah,
it and now, I'm on book 4. I'm not sure if it would be worth it to invest in all of them, but I won't say I'm never going to do it. I
yeah,
just at the moment, no.
yeah,
I might just start fresh with the next series and
yeah,
start doing audiobooks.
yeah. Well, you never know. I
Yeah.
have the luxury of doing my own, I guess. I mean, it's a boatload of work, but I have my own little studio and my own little voice and
Yeah,
all of my quirky little voices, but it's a ton of work and it's expensive to pay other people to do it. So I'm
it
thankful that
is.
I
Yeah.
can do it. But I think yours would be fantastic as audiobooks because they're really fun and your characters are very they're recognizable, individuals that are strong individual characters. And so it would be really fun as an audiobook, but it is expensive. And when you're doing indie publishing, it's that whole thing of, okay, where am I going to put my resources and where am I not? You really have to make
Right.
those decisions because you got nobody else but you.
Yes.
It is indie for a reason. You are the indie in the sauce. Yes. So I know that you're a believer in a beautiful walk with God. Can you tell me, did you learn anything new or specific about God or yourself in the writing process?
Well, I've heard that writing is a mirror,
Huh.
and I don't know if that's totally true, but I have definitely had to take a deeper look, inside
Yeah.
and not just through writing, but the whole business of being an author.
Yeah.
Um, and being an introvert, there's so much fear and insecurity, and
Right.
it's kind of painful to deal with that sometimes, but it's also been a really good opportunity to see, God work in you and to trust him more. And, it's kind of a beautiful thing in the
Yeah.
end that you see your incompleteness and your emptiness and how he fills it. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a good way to describe that. Because as I was reading your book along the way, like, I think I'm learning about who Kim is. Like, because I don't know you that much, so we're getting to know each other. But I
right.
felt like, oh, there's new understanding and new appreciation and fun. Like most of the conversations we've had are sort of, I don't know, work related, but NCWA
Right.
related, and not a lot of fun, snarky things are possible in the midst of that. But I enjoyed all that greatly. So, and I can relate to the whole introvert. Uh, it's kind of a ironic thing that we introverts get to be writers. And then being a writer is like one of the most public things you can do.
It is. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because once your stuff is out there, like it can go anywhere and anybody can read it and pick it apart and do whatever they want with
Yeah.
it. And
Say whatever they want. Yeah.
yeah, and they do. So yeah, so learning the balance and all of that is tricky. Um, but okay, so you also are like a social media wizard. Part of indie publishing too is that all of the marketing falls on you as well. So, do you enjoy that aspect of it? Have you found places that are more effective than others? Just curious, what's your strategy with marketing?
Well,
Yeah,
marketing can be really discouraging sometimes.
yeah,
But I think it helps to think of it. Don't go into it expecting to sell books because you're not going to. The conversion rate is like 2% or something. It's super low.
yeah,
So I think you just have to view social media as a place for readers to find you, to get to know you, to connect with you. And, just build that relationship. And honestly, I'd rather have 10, super fan followers than, 1,000 people who kind of don't care.
Yeah,
They might
yeah,
buy your book, they might not. I'd rather have 10 people who are just so excited when you have a new book coming out. And, that creates a lot more buzz
yeah.
than just constantly posting. So, yeah, I think it's just attitude and how you
Hmm.
go at social media. You'll save yourself a lot of frustration if you just think of it as connection rather than sales.
Yeah, that's good. And I find sales are like one of my least favorite things on the planet. So it's a challenging thing to promote my own goods, but also in like, okay, Lord, you say that promotion comes from the Lord. I mean, there's scripture that says that, and that humility has its as a real virtue and place as a believer. And so being a self-promoter and putting your stuff out sometimes feels like a little mm, tug on my soul about, okay, Lord, what am I trusting you for? And what are you wanting me to do? Like, what's your part and what's my part in this whole promotional area? Do you feel that way, or is that just me?
I definitely feel that way that, I mean, we just have to do our part and be faithful. And I mean, God will take care of the big picture. I mean, we can't do it.
Yeah,
We're not in charge. That it's, and I will just, encourage people that sometimes, it looks like nothing's happening and we're getting really frustrated and discouraged. But then you find out like all this time, sometimes it takes years, but God has been building this thing or opportunity, you know, and you just have to trust Him that it's going to happen. I probably can't say anything yet, but I am facing one of those opportunities now that
yeah.
like it started 10 years ago and
Hmm.
now it's kind of exciting. Hopefully
Yeah.
I'll be able to tell everyone about it, but
Oh, well, we'll have to have you back.
yeah. So
Yeah. It's a journey. But I also think it's part of it, like he's building things in you as an individual too, along the way that a lot of what does it say in scripture? It says things like in the fullness of time or when the time
yes,
was full.
yes,
And like, what does that mean? Like, so you're in Egypt for 400 years. What about all those people? So, but then there just was a time where it was time to
yes,
come out of slavery. There just was a time for the Messiah to enter the world. And we don't always, we have signs to things to look for, but we always don't always know what is that fullness of time
yeah,
with my books too, right? And entrusting him
yeah.
for those things. Definitely. Let me look at what we've covered a lot of territory. This is good. Oh, let me ask you this. Did you always intend to write a series, or did that morph into it as you wrote?
No, I planned it actually as a trilogy. I
Okay.
don't know why. I don't know. That was the thing back then. And the story in my head kind of had three acts or
Okay.
whatever. But when I
Okay.
started writing book three, I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to pull it all together in one book. It's going to have to be four books.
Okay.
So that's what it ended up being. So
So
I did
do you
plan to
have it
write as
planned out? Did you have the whole story arc like planned out ahead of time, or is it morphed as you go?
well, the general idea. I am more of a discovery seat of the pants writer. So I had
Okay.
kind of big picture, but
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of it I'm still figuring out.
Okay. Because that kind of boggles my mind. I have three books now that I have in what I call a collection because they have a lot of crossover characters and territory places. But I never in a million years thought I was going to write. When I wrote the one book, I thought I was done with all of those people, but they keep coming back. So it's interesting to me that people already have in mind, oh, I know this is going to take several books to flesh out the fullness of this. But it's fun. I like reading series because you already know the people and you get to sort of live with them a little bit longer, which is nice too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's part of the reason I like series because you find characters you like and
Yeah.
you want to spend more time with them.
Do you have favorite speculative fiction series that you've read over the years?
I do. I have shelves full of,
Do you?
yeah. Um,
Are they
and it,
Christian or are they secular or some of both?
I actually mostly read general market um, fiction.
Yeah,
Just it has the stories have appealed to me more. And I guess if you read my story too, it's not overtly Christian.
right.
I don't think it deals with the bigger issues of like sacrifice and love and
Yeah. Yeah.
but I
Are they young,
also,
are they YA or are they adult
gen
marketed?
yeah, mostly YA. I'd say 90% YA.
Really?
So, mhm.
Wow. And why is that? Is that just what I like
I think
YA,
it's
but
yeah. I think it's because of most of the stories are a character who is kind of discovering themselves
yeah, yeah,
and who they are and where they're
yeah.
meant to be in life and how they fit in the world. And,
It's
I
true.
think all my stories are going to be like that. So I think that's why it appeals to me so much because it is that kind of moment in time when,
Yeah.
you know, they're discovering who they're
Yeah.
meant to be.
Yeah, that you write about identity, like people finding out who they really are and what they're meant to do. Yeah, I mean, I wish I would have found that out when I was in my teens, but it's an ongoing process.
I know, I know.
Yeah,
Mm.
I love all these young teen heroes. Like, wow, they've figured it out. They're on their way. Yay, you. I'm like,
I'm still working on it. Yeah.
I'm still working on it. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's fun. I love YA for that very reason, is the whole identity piece. Um, do you have any particular scriptures that are your like go-to for writing or life in general?
I think one that's been helpful, I wrote it down somewhere, like Psalm 27, somewhere in there is just the whole take heart and trust in the Lord and wait on the Lord, which I think is a very good verse
Yeah.
for the life of an author because there's a lot of waiting, a,
Yes.
a lot of needing to, take courage and trust in the Lord. So
Yeah.
that one's been helpful to keep the right attitude.
Yeah. That's a very good one. I love that one as well. So we're running out. Wow, we're just zipping through this. All right. So here, let me ask you. If you're talking to a young author just starting out, hasn't been through any of this journey yet, what would be some of your advice for them?
Get connected with other authors, other
Mm,
writers, especially if you're Christian, um, because everything you need to build a foundation is going to be found with other writers.
mm,
Your writing skills, the education, the connections you need to make, especially the encouragement. We think so often of writing as kind of a solitary,
yeah.
you know, endeavor, but we can't do it alone. I don't know how people would do it alone because the friendship, the encouragement, the feedback, I just couldn't do it without
Yeah.
that. So yeah, find your people, get connected.
Find your people and get connected and stay connected. And okay, I forgot to ask this earlier, but you did, with your first book, you entered some contests.
Yes.
The Cascade Award, is that out of Oregon or where is that
Yeah,
one?
Cascade. It used to be Oregon Christian Writers. I think they're Cascade Christian Writers now.
And that you could submit. submit an unpublished manuscript. Do they have to be an unpublished manuscript?
Um, yes, because they have both categories. They have
Oh,
published
okay.
and unpublished.
Okay. And you heard through that through the people that you got connected with, I assume.
Yeah. And I did attend the conference. So I don't remember if I attended the conference before I heard about it or I had just heard about it through connections.
Yeah. And then the Realm Award, that's through a different conference. What's the name of?
So that Realm Makers is it's a fiction writers group. It's speculative fiction,
Yeah.
but it's run by believers and they have a really big conference every year. It's a fantastic conference. If you're speculative fiction writers, definitely get connected with them. There's a big Facebook group
Okay.
that great resource. So they started the conference started, I want to say around 2014, somewhere in there. And then they did the Realm Award. That was actually the first year that they started
Oh,
it.
really?
And I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to enter. And it paid off to
Yeah.
enter.
Yeah. Look at you, Miss Introvert, putting yourself out there. I mean,
It was terrifying, but it
yeah,
paid off.
that's very cool. So I love that advice. Find your tribe, stick with your tribe, and then they lead you to places and give you information and give you encouragement to do some of those things that are scary or just unknown or things you're doing for the first time that can really pay off for your writing and your career and in the long run for everyone who gets to read your books. Let me just remind our listeners, the name of your series is Under Fire. And the name, I have the first book in my hand, Into the Fire. And what's the name of the other three? The titles.
Among the Flames and Through the Smoke.
And what's book four? Do we have a title?
No, it will be
Okay.
officially
Ah,
publicly announced next month.
okay. And when can we expect to see the book itself? You have something in mind there?
Yes, probably fall
Okay.
of 2026.
Okay, so get through the first three books is my advice and be ready for book four. It's coming. You'll get a final denouement and
Yes.
everything. Everything will wrap up. So they're available through ebooks. They're available on Amazon. You can get them through Barnes and Noble and bookstores or anywhere books are
Um,
sold, or how does that work?
yes, only Amazon for like through February. But after February, you can get them Barnes and Noble and other
Okay.
places.
Okay, good to know. So go out, support Kim, read her stuff. It's fun. It'll carry you right along. It's a great read. So I thank you for your time, Kim. I thank you for letting me pick your brain and ask you hard questions.
Thanks for having me, and definitely find me on social media out there.
Yeah,
Connect with me.
where can we find you now that you mentioned that?
Usually, mostly Instagram is where I do most of my posting, just
Okay.
under my name, Kim Vandel. I also have a Facebook page, and I am on TikTok if you're on there. So
And you have a
I'm
website that
fine.
is just kimvandel.com. True?
Yes,
And it's
yes,
Vandel. Kim
yes. It
Vandel.
sounds like vandalism, but it's EL, not AL.
Good to know. She's not destructive in that way.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Go out and find her. Find her books. Support her. Give her some reviews. Give her some love and encouragement. And we've felt your love and encouragement through this too. I thank you for sharing some of the vulnerable things in being a writer. It's just what it is, but it's who we're called to be, right?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. All right. Thanks for your time. I sure love and appreciate all you listeners. Blessings and peace to you. Shalom, shalom.